Cancel Culture from a Self-Actualization Perspective by Renee Lindstrom, founder of Inside Awareness Center for Integrative Somatic Learning and the author of Somatic Archetypes. Have you ever had another person close to you cancel every idea, thought, or opinion you shared by brushing you off, correcting you, or being an authority on a topic of which they have never investigated themselves? They may have heard or read a post, article, or a book on it, yet never dive deeper into experiencing it for themselves. Some parents may have experienced children canceling them out this way, or vice versa, and it's the parents canceling their children out this way. Definitely, in relationships, this is a common experience where one or the other cancels the other out. As a practitioner with a focus on self-actualization through somatic methods with an investment in integrating these methods into my own living experience before becoming an authority on them, there was a moment of recognition of cancel culture long before it was identified in mass responses to disturbing events. As a somatic empath, I recognized that when becoming a parent of two small children, the close proximity and interaction with the children enhanced perceptions of awareness. It was through this somatic body-to-body contact that perception increased tenfold. Having 24/7 somatic body contact with babies seemed to expand my receptors to environmental stimuli through the filter of the five senses. This clarity of sensory awareness was enhanced by parenting lifestyle choices. These choices increased connection through nursing, cloth diapers, making organic foods, and growing medicinal herbs and using homeopathic medicine. These choices increased somatic connections to the natural world instead of society's norm, where there is 20 degrees of separation from the natural and organic core of living experience. Disclaimer. Please know that there is no moral judgment in this last statement, and to write that there is no right or wrong in the intent of it. It is only to identify a difference in the entrainment of social conditioning. An important aspect for understanding and gaining clarity in the differences in people's focus of attention and the entrainment of social conditioning. In this life example, this entrainment was elusive and not well thought out, and an oversight of the whole picture. It was created through smaller choices and decisions to meet the needs of a somatic empath in the moment. Along with the somatic environment that was created through parenting choices, a cancel culture in the experience started during the first pregnancy in the relationship. This relationship came together through conscious choice. It wasn't a forced event or coerced. There were conversations and open inquiries about the ideals and future of being in a committed relationship due to a pregnancy. It was unfortunate that a baby became the focus or responsibility for being in a committed relationship, yet the point is that there were no ultimatums, bribery, or power over to turn it into a relationship. It was free will and personal choices. It was nonviolent communication practiced before being introduced to it. However, one or two family members interfered. Years later, I recognized this as the seeds of an elusive pattern that became interference in my family relationship experience that was destructive. Again, there was no blame or shame, as the takeaway is understanding the lack of intelligence and clarity of inner and outer engagement. It was a lack of skill to identify the full scope of the experience and motivation of others. The family dynamic was locked into reactions and role-playing it out with each other. This experience, combined with observing similar experiences in other homes, where I was invited to consult on their landscaping designs outside and interior designs, led to a dedicated practice of Dr. Marshall Rosenberg's communication model mentioned above. It was during the course of becoming skilled in this model and beginning to share it in my local school community that I had an experience that I could never let go of. It has been at the core of my silent inquiry all these years since. It is not a question to answer. However, it is a consideration in how to move forward. This is a true event that has had a great impact in my pursuit of social conditioning. I was invited into a classroom at my children's local elementary school. It was a group of grade 3 and 4s who were still excited about learning. I went in consecutively for 4 days for a short time, which built up a rapport and trust, it seems. In what was the last day scheduled, we did an interactive exercise to bring all that we shared together into a spontaneous and flexible dialogue. A student stepped forward and we role-played. He was his mom and I was him. I witnessed this young guy experience empathy for his mom in the most difficult situation that I was playing out. It was stunning. I watched recognition spread across his face and he looked at me with emotion and said, "It's okay, I get it." In that moment, I thought my heart was going to engulf me and I wouldn't be able to come out of it. It opened so much I thought I was melting into the floor. I didn't, of course. It's just a somatic feeling of oneness. This exercise led to coming back the next day where all the kids became their parents, and I them, where we played with the communication inquiry. This planted the seed in my unconsciousness that later became known as cancellation culture. This was a moment that shifted something in my conscious awareness. I usually do not use this type of comparison, yet this is the only way I can describe it. It was like a glitch in the matrix. It was the first time I could consciously identify what I had been experiencing all my life. Until that moment, created through this learning experience, meant for the kids, was actually a moment of increased clarity for me. This was the clarity of how the seeds of separation in behaviors is learned through social conditioning. In the role playing in these early educational years, there was still innocence and enthusiasm. I heard the behaviors of the parents creating separation and fragmentation in the children as they expressed themselves. The focus was on language and interpretation, and what I learned was profound. Parents who have been conditioned through the culture of their education now were habitually conditioning their children through their parenting. That experience for me was like the right side of the brain engaging with the left side in a balanced way. There was spontaneity in the interplay that reorganized the way the two sides operated together in a type of partnership in processing information. They didn't cancel each other out. The process wasn't through evaluative thinking, debate, which is the seed to cancellation culture, comparisons, or being an authority, or from memories to assess it. This is from a dominant somatic empath perspective and what I refer to as the fire and water balance. Water is the period of contemplation and fire is the conscious action springing forth from the water. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and be sure to check out my web pages, www.renelindstrom.com, or my learning center at www.insideawareness.com. Follow me on my socials listed in the description box below, and I look forward to catching you on the next one.